Hey guys, KYT here. It's been a minute, but I'm finally here to talk about my retirement calculator that I did for my website that was really popular on Blossom, and also to delve into the classic retirement withdrawal strategies that you may have read about. But to be honest, I'll start off by saying retirement's really complicated. Retirement planning, and that's why generally you should probably get an actual advisor. All these calculators and all these different withdrawal calculations that you can make are really just a rule of thumb or just to give you a general idea, because everyone can have, let's say, pensions. Everyone might have different desires of how much they want to spend in the later parts of their retirement. Some want to maintain like the same standard of living. Some understand that they might need less, might need to spend less later in life. Some might want a side hustle. Some might actually like grind extra money to make up for not having a full-time job. So a lot of this is, I think, fun to do, right? Really quick calculations, but ultimately for your specific scenarios, you will have to adjust and know that year to year, things will shift because of how the market affects your retirement portfolio. With that said, let's get started. Now, let's first go through 3 retirement withdrawal strategies. The first one being fixed dollar withdrawal. And you've probably heard a form of this when discussing or in any investing forum about the 4% rule. And that's a version of a fixed dollar withdrawal, specific one where you're taking out 4% the first year and then every year after inflation adjusted for it. So example would be, and you'd have to input your own inflation number, like over here, year 140K, and then it goes up over time, but consistently the same standard of living. Now, I'm not going to go through all the notes I put together here, so I encourage you to pause the video and read all the details I've put together. But the 4% rule, the problem with it is that it doesn't adjust for the market. What the market has changed when it comes to your portfolio, whether it goes up or down, it just takes 4% plus the inflation adjustment. And the second one is called fixed percentage rate, which is you come up with a percentage and you do that every year. So year 1, you take out 4%. Year 2, 4%. Year 3, 4% from what you have. And of course, the problem with that as well is that it's brutal volatility for your lifestyle, because that percentage is going to generate a different like actual dollar amount, right? Depending on how your portfolio changes. If it changes a lot, then your standard of living, the amount you can spend year to year is like, it might swing wildly, right? It's not like the previous version where it's like, oh, it's about the same year to year, the same purchasing power. Here, it can change drastically, but the pro I put here is that you can never mathematically hit zero, because you can keep taking 4% of even the smallest number, right? Even if you're down to $1, you can withdraw 4%, but of course, at that point, it's not hitting a realistic, like a meaningful minimal amount, right? You're not going to live off of 4% of $1, but that's just a feature of this way of looking at things. And lastly, we have the amortization model, which is something that I learned from first heard about in a Ben Felix video, did a lot of research, read up on it. And it's sort of like the percentage one that we talked about in the second one, but it takes into account 2 things: a variable that adjusts for how aggressively you want to exhaust your portfolio, let's say to 0, and then the number of years you project to have left to spend this portfolio. So instead of the second one where it's just 4% throughout, this one will just adjust the amount you spend based on how the market has done for you and how many years you have left. I don't know if it's easier for some people to visualize, but for me, it is, as someone who has a mortgage, and to view this as like a reverse mortgage that you're paying to yourself, because ultimately you want to, in a mortgage, you're paying until you pay your debt off. Here, you're consuming your portfolio until your target end balance, which for default settings would be spending it until you have 0. I just want to quickly mention I've done like maybe 100 to 200 takes on this, on every part of this video, because it's easy to get really verbose about this topic because there's just so much to cover, but I also don't want to bore my audience. So let's keep it straight to the point and have everybody explore on their own or make many more mini videos on this topic. So on my calculator, which can change from month to month because I do try to improve it all the time, is your current portfolio value, your years in retirement. There's a simulation mode, which is, for now, the default is just taking the 30-year period. Historical means it just takes them in order. So sequential 30 years, doesn't randomly sample them, and then tests this, like simulates this as if you lived in different 30-year periods from 1987 to 2024. Spend rate is how aggressive you want to exhaust your portfolio is the way I look at it. Expected inflation, I know it's been really high the past few years, but the default's 2.5%, but again, I recognize that someone might be willing to push it higher and then target ending balance. I mean, if you want to leave some for future generations, if you want to give yourself a buffer, I would set it higher to 0, or because you might outlive this plan or the simulation. So in years of retirement, maybe you want to put 35, 40 to give you that room. But that's the gist of my calculator. So let's give my tool a spin, shall we? Here we have the spend rate. I'm going to lower it to 4% because it feels more reasonable, and you can play around with this number. Click calculate and see what it shoots out. And the default view mode is in real, so all these graphs below are in real terms. Again, this means that they are inflation adjusted. And to have you see what I find interesting about these findings. Like what I'm looking at really is looking at the annual withdrawals with these settings and seeing like how little I can withdraw on even the worst years. So the median here means that 50% of the time it's going to be above and 50% of the time it's going to be below that. So in the median scenario, so out of all those 30-year samples, the median one, it looks like I was able to spend an increasing amount over time, which means I'm probably like withdrawing lower than the market performance. But then in the fifth, like when we're talking about percentiles, there's like 5th and 95th. So like there's 5% worst case scenarios at the very bottom here. It shows like if you scroll over, it can go down to 30K, right? My first year, it's saying I can withdraw 58K, but in the worst scenarios, in the downtrends, we're talking about it can go all the way down to 30-ish, and it's like 29 even. And the question would be like, if I'm okay with that, right? If I'm not, then I probably need either a bigger portfolio or a lower, even less aggressive spend rate. If you scroll down again, you can see how eventually they all go to 0 because that's the intention of the formula, to chop up the remaining portfolio in a way that in the end, you just spend it down to the target ending balance. So I've added this recently, which is the explore sample scenario. So here you can't really see it exactly what happens in the scenario. You have like ranges, but here it takes 3 specific scenarios. So one where you start off on the back foot, for a lack of a better term expression, where you start with 2 red years. So already you jump from 57K withdrawal and you have to go down to the 40s and all the way down to like 21K, right? But there are scenarios where like this must have been like a crazy good period, right? Like you're just nonstop winning. And not only can you withdraw more, well, you do adjust like here, 44 after a 12.4% down year. But after these explosive years, you're able to take out 66K, 81, 95, all the way to 200K for one of the years. And I think it's smooth where like, holy crap, right? Like some people are using my tool and posting like, I didn't know that I would be able to withdraw that much. But again, it depends on the sequence of the returns. Actually, let's zoom out a bit. And because earlier I mentioned spend rate as the rate as by which how fast you want to exhaust your portfolio. But if I want to be really technical about it, it's more that it's using it as if it's your constant rate of return in the future. And so what that means is that to really, if you're thinking about it in that way, you want it to be some number lower than that, because your returns will not be 8.4% in this case, like constantly in the future. Then you're going to be spending way too much, right? Because you're likely going to hit periods like we saw, negative 20% or even worse. And so spend rate is some number lower than the future expected return of your portfolio. Now, what do I get out of it? Like I said, I get out of looking at the worst case scenario, which is also what the 4% rule was trying to find. It was trying to find a number that you can withdraw using the fixed withdrawal strategy that allows you to survive 90 to 95% of possible scenarios, assuming your future scenarios are like the US data that they use, right? Our future could play out differently, or exact simulation of the future, or exact parallel universe, if you believe in that, can play out very differently. It can play out really well. It can play out worse than ever than any of those samples that we saw. But we're able to see that. And I think also it goes to show, let's say, that someone doesn't have $1 million, and I'm doing this for the first time, actually. We're doing it live. If someone has $500,000, because I think a lot of the times people are intimidated by the fact that they need $1 million to survive or to use the strategy, and then that motivates them to go super high risk, like to completely deviate from trusted academic research, because they're like, man, that doesn't work for me. But even if you had $500,000 or even lower, there are scenarios depending on the future that plays out really well for you. And so it's hard to say. It's really hard to say, but for now, like, mess around, ask questions, and I'll be in the comments for sure.